Can you just walk us through kind of what happened and what led you kind of getting the appendectomy?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the normal appendicitis that you hear about. I didn't really feel much, just was getting checked out and had some discomfort, and so we thought we'd get it checked out. Turns out I had it, so we had to get it fixed. Not ideal timing, obviously, but glad it happened now and not halfway through the year.
When you look at your career so far in terms of off seasons, obviously your first year COVID, last year your knee, and then this, I know it's not really your personality to do the whole woe is me, but like at any point were you just like, this is really annoying?
Yeah, I'd like to have a normal off season at some point. That would be great, going into the season feeling as good as I can. But that hasn't been the reality for 3 years, and so you make the most of what you got. We'll try again next year.
How challenging will it be to be ramped up to where you feel like you want to be by week 1, or do you feel like that's very much in play, or something that's going to be a challenge?
No, I think it'll be okay. I think we have a good plan as far as nutrition and weight room and rehab and all that good stuff. So I'm feeling really good right now, and I'm just going to keep feeling better.
How much weight did you lose?
I'll keep that to myself.
What's the biggest hurdle?
Yeah.
Is it physical? Is it timing? Like, what's the biggest thing that now is something you have to get over?
Yeah, just getting back to where my body was before the surgery. I was feeling the best I had coming out of the off-season training, and so now it's just trying to get back to that.
Did you place a specific timeline on trying to get back, or did you just kind of take it day to day, week to week as you went along?
It was just following doctor's orders. I would have liked to be out there faster, but that wasn't the reality for what I had done, and so we got back as fast as we could.
Kind of on that last note, were you surprised with how well you practiced on Sunday, kind of immediately throwing deep balls all over the field?
I wouldn't say. I've completed the balls. I wouldn't say, I have had as much juice as I would have liked. Hoping I go out there today and feel better than I did then.
Have you felt pretty good the day after? A lot of times when you start ramping up, and you get pushed a little bit more physically, you might feel something the following day. Has it been pretty good for you there, where you can continue to ramp up?
Yeah, the more I've done each day, the better I felt the next day, and that's kind of how it's always gone for me. So the more activity that I can do, the more lifting, the more practicing, the better I'll feel.
Zach said that 7-on-7 reps, there was 2 scheduled for you on Sunday. Did you just make the call to stay in? How did that go?
No, me and Pitch made that call. I guess we didn't tell Zach, but that was game time decision.
What's been the most uncomfortable part in terms of physicality? Like, you looked like you were kind of uncomfortable standing at first, and then you looked more comfortable throwing. Is it your abs? Like, what's been the most uncomfortable part of this whole process?
Yeah, it's just getting my abs and my core re-engaged, because when they cut into you and do all that stuff, your core is going to lose some muscle and some strength. It's just getting that back.
You used the word juice earlier. Are you still working to kind of get the velocity you usually throw it?
Yeah, that's just going to come back. The more I do in the weight room, the stronger I get.
When did you start throwing again? Was Sunday the first time? Were you able to throw before?
No, I started tossing it around. That would have been 2 weeks. 2 weeks after surgery is when they said I could start doing that.
I think I already know the answer to this, but I do have to ask, with all of the changes that this franchise has made recently in terms of things that could potentially help make more money, a lot of it, including the owner Mike Brown saying we see the train coming in terms of your contract. When you see all of that, the investment this franchise is making in you, how does it make you feel?
It doesn't mean anything if I go out and stink it up all year. So I'm approaching this season the same way I've approached every season in the past, working really hard all off season, having a setback and having to come back from it. So I'm focused on this year and winning as many games as we can.
The only thing left is a team period. You've done 7-on-7s. When do you anticipate being able to ramp up and take a few team snaps?
Today.
Today, 11-on-11 today?
Yep.
Joe, you said you felt amazing before this procedure, and you feel good now. Was there one thing in your mind before all of this that you thought, this is what I've got to be better at this year, like one noted thing you want to be able to improve on?
No, there wasn't really one thing. I was just looking to improve my overall game. There were no, looking back at it, there were no glaring weaknesses in my game last year. It was just improving my overall athleticism and ability to throw the ball. That was the focus this offseason.
Was there something last year you were most pleased with that you made a big leap in your game?
I think the last half of the year, we really hit our stride, hitting the deep balls, taking the opportunities when they present themselves. And I think, that's going to carry over into this year. We're not going to get as much, one-on-one situations with the guys that we have on the outside. And so when we get those opportunities, we got to take them.
Was the plan always for you to participate in 11s today after knowing that Sunday you were going to do something?
Yeah, today was the plan.
Did you feel like it was important to be out there even when you couldn't do much of anything? It was important to be out there and just kind of be present at practice, and if so, why?
Yeah, I think so. Just more so mentally for me to just kind of get back into the swing of things. You're in the hospital for however many days, and you start to feel like a sick person, and so you want to get back out with the guys and feel healthy again.
Do you think we'll be able to participate fully next week against the Rams in practice?
Yeah, we haven't talked about it, but that's my plan.
Do you need to play in the preseason or want to play in the preseason?
Obviously, I would have liked to. This whole thing is kind of throwing a wrench in that, so I don't anticipate I'll be playing in a preseason game now.
Was there a point during this whole thing where you were getting really nervous about what exactly is going on, or did you always feel like it'll be okay?
No, I just didn't really know what to expect, and so I was just kind of going along with it. And now that I'm feeling the way I am now, I'm getting exponentially better each day. Each day that I'm in the weight room, each day that I'm on the field, I'm feeling stronger and stronger. So I think by game 1, I'll be feeling great.
Did the appendix end up rupturing?
It did, yeah.
Watching Jamar in camp, what's the biggest difference you've seen in his game?
Just his overall feel. Last year at the beginning of the year, he was a rookie that was running routes, didn't really understand what we were trying to do as an offense, and now he's just a complete receiver, understands the point of each play, his job on each play, and obviously he's going to go and win when we ask him to.
As hard as you work physically in the offseason to continue to get stronger and more athletic, whatever terms you want to use, was it just frustrating to look in the mirror and see weight loss after a ruptured appendix?
Yeah, it was frustrating, but control what you can control, and so we're working back to get to that point. Not quite there, but we got 3 weeks left to get my strength, my speed, and my athleticism back to where it was before.
Nutrition-wise, what do you have to add or subtract to get back in such a short time?
Got to go back to the high school days when you're trying to gain 20 pounds in a couple weeks span. So we're forcing down as much as we can.
What's the go-to?
What do you eat? What do you eat? What do you?
Everything.
Now that you've been around, the guys, you've got a good grasp of the team. First couple weeks of camp, what are your expectations for what y'all should be able to accomplish this year?
I think we're going to have a really good team. We have most of our defense back. Added some really key pieces that I think have performed really well in camp, and not just on the field, but in the locker room. We've added some great guys in there, and I think that's just as important as the on-the-field stuff. So, the expectation every year is a Super Bowl, but you don't want to look too far ahead. I think our expectation is to be in every game that we play in and win our division and make the playoffs. I think that's the goal every year.
Is there anything about your game specifically you'd like to be better than it was, or something that was a point of emphasis for you in the time between OTAs and camp?
I think just throughout the season, cut down on the turnovers from last year. Obviously there were some that you can't control, but the ones you can, you always try to limit.
How do you think Jamar looks this training camp?
Big, fast, and strong, just like he always does.
Sure, when you go back to the appendix, the rupture, the fear of being septic, was that like all of a sudden hit you right in the face, like, wow, I've got to take care of this big time?
That was the doctors. I trusted the doctors. I had a great, the people that were working with me were unbelievable. I couldn't have asked for a better group of doctors that were around me. They were really, really awesome and kept in contact through the whole process and were making sure I felt great. So those guys really helped me a lot.
You're pretty good with percentages. What percentage are you right now?
I'll keep that to myself, but we're working to get back.
You got a number?
No, you're not getting a numbered, Hobbs.
Joe, this is kind of a weird detail, probably feels like ages ago now, but when you were training with Jordan Palmer, I think you posted, or somebody did a picture of you throwing it. It was a Super Bowl football with the Super Bowl logo. I'm curious where that ball came from. Is that one that you had, or did you just give those to you? Is there any reason for that?
No, that was one that I had. Just a good ball. I like to throw with it.
You like the Super Bowl balls? There's no reason that you take that with you or anything like that?
Nope.
You posted the pictures with you and Jesse and Cheeto at the UFC stuff in Vegas. What's been your communication like with Jesse, and how are you managing that whole situation with him being your teammate but not being here and being the leader of the team?
Jesse's business is his business. When he's ready to come back, we'll be excited to have him. Obviously, great player, great person, great friend. So, when his business is over, we'll welcome him back with open arms whenever he's ready.
In terms of getting yourself back physically, are you having to spend more time in the weight room, more time training, or is it just a different sort of focus with day night?
Yeah, more time than I normally would in camp, just to try to build myself back up. But, we're obviously, when you're this close after surgery, there's certain things you can and can't do in there. So it's just trying to figure out the right mix of volume and weight to build myself back up.
Are you taking that time away from anything else? Are you coming in earlier? Like, how do you try to divvy that up?
No, that's just extra time you got to put in.
Is it a challenge not to alter your mechanics? Because the torque, like you're talking about, the core torque is the big thing, and that's probably the most painful thing. You got to make sure you're doing it right, even though it's painful.
Yeah, at the beginning, that was definitely, I didn't want to jump into it too fast because I knew that was a possibility that, I would have to compensate and therefore change what I was doing. So we couldn't come back too fast from it for that reason.
What was it like meeting Sugar Sean up there?
It was fun. He was a good dude. We've become friends and kept in contact, so that's been fun.
What's your reaction to being on sports on the cover of Sports Illustrated? Does that mean anything to you, or is it just another thing?
Just another thing that comes with success that will go away without success. So it doesn't really mean anything to me.
Back to 11 on 11 in the second, started today. How much is that for you, the continuity of getting in there with all of these new guys, especially on the offensive line? How much is that factoring in starting today?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that you need going into week one that we haven't had. I haven't been out there. LC hasn't been out there. We've had some key guys sidelined throughout camp, and so you have to get out there, not just to play together, but to hear how the communication is going to work for week one. So, I'm excited to start that today.
What's your impression of Hayden Hurst so far?
Very twitchy. I'm excited to have him. He's going to be a great addition for us that I think is going to be very productive this year.
When you got a guy like that with that skill set, what capability does that bring to the offense?
Well, when you have our three guys at receiver, they're going to try to take those guys away, and so Hayden's going to get a lot of one-on-one matchups that I think he can win.
As a leader, do you notice that your teammates respond when you first came in the huddle? Do you notice they're a little bit different, swelling of the chest, bouncing the stuff, all that stuff? Do you pay any attention to that?
No, I don't. I didn't notice. That's probably more of a question for them.
What was the pecking order for people to get rides for you on the golf cart? Was there one? Was there a lot of lobbying?
Whoever hopped on, first come, first serve.
Not reserved for the quarterbacks.
No.
Was the golf cart a pretty good tool for gassers?
Yeah. Just try to be, when you're like that, you try to find any joy that you can. When you're just sitting, you can only sit around all day. So, that was kind of fun.
Was there anything particular about that scooter you didn't like? It seems like you dumped that option.
As fast as you guys saw it going, that's how fast it could go. So we had to find something else.
What did you do to pass the time as you were recovering?
Well, I was here when I could be here. Other than that, I was in the hospital. So sleeping as much as I could, really. I didn't do much to pass the time except, handle the pain and sleep.
If you don't play in the preseason, sounds like you're not going to. How big are those practices then against the Rams?
Yeah, that's the same thing as last year. We didn't play in the preseason last year, so those are basically game reps. You're not going to be getting hit, but you're going to be facing a different opponent in a practice situation that'll be controlled, so you don't have to worry about getting hurt, but it's a game rep.
So you've gone through a lot of things like you talked about with pain, that involves pain, surgeries, but having an organ removed and having to deal with that was long sustained pain. Was that the toughest thing you dealt with?
Nah.
No. What was the toughest thing you've dealt with so far?
I think the knee was pretty tough. That was a long, drawn-out process, so we'll say the knee.
Say the knee by far?
Yeah.
What do you expect those Rams practices to be like? I mean, it's got to be a unique situation to have an open practice with the team you just played in the Super Bowl with. What do you expect those 2 days kind of be like?
It'll be intense, but I think both teams have veteran players that know how to practice that'll take care of each other. So it'll be intense, but I think it'll be controlled as well.
It seemed like that style of defense last year made the offense kind of work and operate differently. How beneficial can it be just to get that many reps against that style of defense?
Yeah, they have a very good defense, and that style of defense has kind of been taking over the league the last couple of years. So it'll be good to get practice reps against it, not just game reps.
Have you watched the Super Bowl yet in its entirety?
Yeah.
How many times have you watched the tape?
Just one time.
Yeah.
That's behind us.
Right.
We're in 2022 now.
How do you think you played overall?
That's behind us.
Yeah.
We're talking about this year now.
Obviously, these injuries aren't something that you would want to happen, but I'm sure you've learned from everything you've been through. What you've been through from a health standpoint taught you that you've maybe learned about yourself that's now a positive for you?
I just think my whole career has been coming back from speed bumps and adversity, and so I don't know anything else. It's just another speed bump in the way. It is what it is. Got to come back from it. You control what you can control, and this is what we're dealing with right now.
As a player, how valuable is it to have a coaching staff led by Zach that is almost player-friendly when guys are coming back from injuries, and not just you? I mean, on down. It seems like he's pretty player-friendly when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think the whole league is kind of starting to turn that way. They understand that you need guys healthy during the preseason, so I think camps are starting to become less intense and less wear and tear on the body before the season starts, because we added another game, seasons are longer, and so I think they know that they need their best players on the field throughout the year, and so in order to do that, you have to let guys come back from injury at their pace, and when they feel good, they'll be back out there.
Has the injury and the surgery and the rehabilitation changed your list of priorities? These are the things I wanted to work on, and then all of a sudden you have this surgery and rehab. How has it changed the list, or the order of the list, or whatever, as you're trying to bring yourself back?
Yeah, obviously throughout off-season training, you're working on building your body up, getting more athletic, stronger, bigger, faster. And so then when you get to camp, you don't have to worry about all that stuff. You can focus on football. But when you have that surgery and you lose your strength, you got to put that at the forefront again to try to build yourself back up.
Just one thing with the mechanics is like, you don't want to favor anything. That's when you get in trouble. But did you tweak anything during the off season, or anything that might be affected by this?
No, felt great all year. It was an awesome off season. Came into camp feeling great. Body was feeling strong. It was feeling fast, athletic, and so we're getting back to that.
Ted Karras is a big personality, big vocal, effervescent personality. How's that relationship with you and your new son?
It's been great. Ted's awesome to have in the locker room, on the field. Great communicator, knows his stuff. Never have to worry about him, missing an assignment. So he's been unbelievable.